Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I filmed this look for you guys. I know it's a little extra and I don't know, it just looks dark, but I decided since I'm wearing, well, it's white and green, you can't really tell that it has green in it, but that was the point because I wanted to add some green, like some more green to my look. I decided to add the green in my eyes. It does have some blue and greens in it. I don't know if you can see, but yeah, I used the Jaclyn Hill palettes. I'll show you as I'm doing my makeup what products I use, as well as listing them down below. But yeah, if you guys want to see how I got this look, then just keep on watching. Alright, so here I'm starting already with my eye primed and set, and I used the Urban Decay eyeshadow eye potion thingy and just my Airspun setting powder to set it. And I'm going to be using the Jaclyn Hill palette, and the two shades that I used from this palette were Silk Cream and Creamsicle. And I am using this BH Cosmetics blending brush, and I am just going to blend that in as my crease shade, and I'm just going to apply both of those until I get the desired look that I want for the crease shade. Next, I'm going to be taking another Jaclyn Hill palette from Morphe, and this is from her Vault collection. And I am going to be taking the shade Shh, that's literally what it's called, and the same blending brush from BH Cosmetics. And this step isn't that necessary, but I did want to add a little more coolness to the look since the other greens that we were going to be were a little cool, if that makes sense. But yeah, this brown is just a little more cool, not that warm, and I just blended this into the crease shades as well. With the same Jaclyn Hill Vault palette, I'm taking this Wet n Wild blending brush, and I am going to be using the shade Potion, and I am going to be applying this under those two crease shades, still in the crease but just a little under those two. And I did start off using a little bit at a time because I didn't want to add a whole ton and then mess up. That is the reason why I'm also using a blending brush, just so I could grab a little at a time and blend it out. It does look a little messy now, but it'll look better, I promise. Now I'm going to be using this Morphe M506 brush, and I'm going to be using the same palette, the Vault palette, and I am going to be taking the shade Inside Job, and I'm just going to apply this right into the crease, and that is why I chose to use a smaller brush, so I could get right in there but also blend it out at the same time. I also did start by using a little bit at a time and just adding the color more as needed until I got the desired deepness of the color. And also I did apply it slightly into the outer V of my eye. And then I did go back and forth with the shade Potion and the Wet n Wild brush and the Inside Job with the M506, just to blend those two in and make sure that there's no harsh lines. The next thing we're going to do is cut our crease, and I am using this LA Girl Pro Conceal Concealer, and I'm just using it in the shade Classic Ivory, but you could use any shade as long as it's light, so you could, you know, conceal the rest of the colors and cut your crease with. I find using this concealer super easy to cut the crease with because of the wand. Usually I cut my crease with both of my hands, like stretching out my eye with one and using the concealer to cut it with the other, and that just helps me go with the shape of my eyeball slash eyelid, if that makes any sense. So right here I'm using one hand, so it kind of took me a little longer, and it didn't come out as perfect as, well, not perfect, but as good as it usually does when I use one hand and just cut cut the crease like that. But once I did cut the crease, I just went in with my finger and blended out that concealer throughout the eyelid. Now, taking this pencil brush from BH Cosmetics, sorry, it doesn't have a number or anything on it, but it's just a pencil brush. I'm going in with the shade Trickery. Again, this isn't a necessary step, but since I did it in the first eye, I just went in and did it on this eye as well, just to make it all even. But it's not necessary because it ended up being pretty much the same color as Inside Job once you blended it all in. I mean, it does have some shimmer in it, but once it's all blended in, the shimmer, you can't really tell. So this step isn't necessary. You could just go ahead and use the shade Inside Job and it pretty much would be the same, because as you see here, I'm going back in with that Morphe M506 brush and applying Inside Job just to blend it in and darken that crease up a bit. And you'll see it literally looks like the same shade, so I just blended it all together. Back to the Jaclyn Hill palette, I'm going to be taking the shade Diva, which is kind of like a cool tone shimmery green color, and I'm just using this BH Cosmetics flat brush. Again, it doesn't have a number or name, it's just an older brush that I have. And I am going to be applying that shade onto the outer kind of edge of the eyelid, as you can see here. And I'm applying it all the way up until where that concealer is. And I just wanted to use this shimmery shade as kind of like a transition from that outer V color onto the inner corner of the eye. And it's a really pretty color, super shimmery. I love the shades in this palette and the vault as well. And yeah, that's how it looks. Now, I know I'm using a lot of different palettes, but I'm using greens, and this Makeup Revolution palette, I believe it's called the Reloaded one. I'm not sure which one this is, but I'm just using this greeny goldish kind of money shade, and this is the shade that I'm going to be using in the inner eyelid part. And I'm just using the same flat shader brush but on the other side or the other end of the brush, and I'm just going to blend this in from the inner corner onto that shimmer shade and blend them together. And this shade, since it is a little more brighter and shimmery, it's just going to brighten the look up a bit. We're done with eyeshadow. We're going to move on to lashes, and I'm going to be applying mascara before falsies. And this is the Essence Volume Stylist 18-Hour Lash Extension Mascara, and this one has lengthening fibers. I just love all Essence mascaras. They're all really good. They make your lashes look super good, and they are also very cheap. And I'm going to be using this Duo Black brush on glue, as well as these falsies from the dollar store that I found from LA Colors in the style Entice. And while my lash glue is drying, I am going to go in with the wipey and kind of clean up that fallout from the shadows. Moving on to face, I'm going to be priming my face using this e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. And I'm going to warn you, for some reason, I applied a ton of this primer, but I really love it. It's really good. It does literally make you look poreless, and it just makes your face feel really good. And again, I did apply a ton, and I just kind of used it as lotion too, since I ended up using a ton. So here I'm just rubbing it in my face, like all over my face, not just my problem areas. And after my primer, I am going to be applying this Maybelline Super Stay Full Coverage Foundation. and I am using the shade 128 Warm Nude with my damp Real Techniques sponge, and I'm just gonna dot it onto my face. And it does seem like I use a lot of pumps, but I don't use full pumps. I probably would say I use like 1.5 full pumps, if that makes sense. And then I'm gonna go in with my sponge and just blend it all in. I really love this foundation because it is so full coverage. It's matte, and I do have oily skin, but it's not drying. It still makes your skin look good. And I don't have to use a ton of it because of how full coverage it is. For concealer, I'm going to be applying the Too Faced Born This Way concealer, and I am using this in the shade Snow. And I am gonna be applying this under my eyes, my chin, on top of my lip, forehead, and nose. And I'm gonna be blending this out with the same Real Techniques sponge that's damp, but I'm gonna be using the other end that's more curved to blend this all in. Once I'm done blending out the concealer with the remaining concealer that's on the sponge, I go in under my cheekbones and kind of carve it out to make it look contoured. And I learned this trick from Makeup by Shayla, and I just really like doing it because you do end up getting some remaining product on the sponge, so you might as well use it for something, and I just really like that trick. Now I am gonna be setting all that concealer, and I am using my Airspun translucent powder, and I am using that flat side of my damp sponge to apply that powder. I do go in and kind of make sure that concealer is blended out before I do apply the powder though. Now I have that powder on my face baking, I guess, and I look somewhat ghostly. Literally, this makes me look so white. I am gonna go back with the Jaclyn Hill Vault palette and my Wet n Wild blending brush with the shade Potion. I'm gonna be applying this under my eyes on my lower lid, and I'm just gonna be using the same colors that I used on the upper lids on my lower lids. So here I'm just blending this one onto my lower lid. Back with my Morphe M506 brush and the shade Inside Job, I'm going to be applying that a little bit on top of the shade Potion, kind of the same how we did on the upper eyelid. And I'm going to be applying that on both eyes, obviously, but I'm not going to go all the way into the inner corner. That's all we're going to do for the lower lid. Now we are going to be applying the same mascara, the Essence 18-Hour Volume Mascara, onto the lower lids. And here I just didn't record all of it because, I mean, we all know how to apply mascara on our lower lids. Now I am using this powder brush, again from BH Cosmetics. It doesn't have a number or anything. And I am just blending in that powder and also, you know, pressing it into the skin under the eyes. After baking, you do kind of lose some color and the eye tend to look a little white. Like a little washed out. So we are going to go on to bronzing the skin, which I really need. And I'm going to be using this bronzer from Rimmel, and this is the Maxi bronzer in the shade Sun Queen. And I'm just using this angled kind of blush brush. I got this in a BoxyCharm box, so I'm not really sure where it's from or what it's called, but it's just an angled kind of blush brush. And I am just going to be applying this bronzer on my cheekbones, temple area, and up onto my forehead. I also applied this on my nose, not necessarily contouring my nose, but I use it to add some color to the nose and slightly contour, I guess. For blush, I'm going to be using this Anastasia Beverly Hills Blush Trio in the shades, or in the blush trio called Peachy Love. And I'm just using or blending in all three shades with this, again, BH Cosmetics angled blush brush. I don't know the name of this brush, but it's an angled blush brush. And I am just going to be applying those to the apples of my cheeks and kind of blending it back to the cheekbones as well. Then I go in with the stippling brush from BH Cosmetics, and I just use that to blend all of that in together. For highlighter, I am going to be using this highlighter from Wet n Wild, and that is in the shade Precious Petals, and going in with the Morphe highlighter brush, the M510, I believe, brush. I'm just going to be applying the highlighter on the highest point of my cheekbones. I can't talk anymore. On my chin, forehead, temple area, nose, and upper lip. And this highlighter is literally one of my favorites. It's so blinding. Now I'm going to be taking my sponge again and the rest of that airspun powder, and I am just going to be carving out my cheekbones a little bit more just to look a little more defined and, you know, try to make myself look a little more skinnier than what I really am. And while that powder is baking on the bottom, I'm gonna go ahead and do my lips. And I am gonna be using two colors or two shades. I am gonna be using, or the first one that I'm using is from Wet n Wild. It is the Mega Last Liquid Catsuit, and this is in the shade Nudie Patootie. And I'm just gonna apply that all over the lips. The next shade that I'm going to use is from Rimmel, and this is the Stay Matte Liquid Lip Color. And this is in the shade Moi, I believe. It's just W-A-H. And I'm just going to apply that on top to kind of add a little more peachiness to the look and not make it look so grayish nude. Now with that stippling brush, I'm going to go in and kind of brush off that carving that we did with the setting powder, and as you can see, it literally helps carve out those cheekbones. And once we remove all that powder, I'm going to go in with my Morphe setting spray and set my whole face with that. And this mist, I feel like you don't feel how much you are applying because of how fine it is. So you end up applying a whole ton. Like, you can kind of see my hair even got a little wet from it. But this setting spray is actually really good. I really do like it. And then I'm just going to blow some wind to kind of dry that up a bit. And here we are done, and I'm just showing you how the look looks. So yeah guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what else you would like to see and comment down below anything you would like. And thank you so much for all the subscribers that are still here, even though I have not filmed a video. But anyways, I will see you guys in my next video.